Welcome to the Agents of Fandom podcast. I am your host, TJ Zwarich. We have a bit of a different show going today, as obviously we are live. We didn't know when we were starting. We just knew we were waiting until after that Thor, Love and Thunder trailer. I am not joined by my trusty co-host, Garrett Blaney. As always, he is currently on his way back from Las Vegas. He's driving back, so maybe he'll try and pop in at the end, but it's most likely just going to be this squad here. We are joined, of course, you guys know one of my guests already, longtime agent, third time on the podcast. Layla, how you doing?
I'm very tired, but it was very worth staying up, and I'm just so excited, and this has just made me like put in the best mood, so I'm very ready to scream about this trailer.
Let's do it. We're ready to scream about some Thor. We're ready to scream about some Gorr. We also have another guest, his very first time on the podcast. You will definitely recognize him if you've been checking out the Agents of Fandom TikTok account. Jaden, cameraman Duran. How's it going, Jaden?
It is going good. I'm ready to talk some Thor.
Yes, I'm excited. So to all of those watching on Twitch, thank you for being here with us. Hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. We have some brand new Agents of Fandom emotes, courtesy Ruben. I'm firing them in the chat right now. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. I'm going to hit a gift a sub right now as we speak. We'll send that to somebody. Now, if you're listening to this in podcast form later, shout out to our guy Brandon. He just Brandon Moore. He just hit out 3 gifts for us as well. Bunch of new subs. You'll love to see it. So we'll have more people hitting those emotes in the chat. And so if you're listening to this in podcast form, is of course available wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Help us combat the YouTube algorithm overlords. But enough of that boring stuff. Let's talk some Thor. Layla, you stayed up late for this trailer. You put in some work to be here. You said it was worth it. Where does Thor rate on the for you for the rest of the movies of 2022? Like, where's your hype level for it? And also, what did you just think of the trailer as a whole?
Right now, this is my most anticipated. I think this was always above Multiverse of Madness for me. So, and this trailer has just really made me be like, yes, this is the film that I've been waiting for. I'm such a huge Ragnarok fan, and obviously Taika coming back is like, I trust that man with my life. Like, I just know that whatever happens in this film is going to be just like insane. And yeah, it was definitely worth staying up for, because we were having this conversation earlier, but last year I missed the trailer drop because I didn't wake up, and it was like the biggest regret. So I was like, I'm staying up. I'm going to catch this trailer. I have to do it this time. And yeah, it was very worth it.
Yeah, it absolutely. You'll love to see it. I'm happy because I love basketball and I'm a Celtics fan, so I got to watch the game a little bit and got to see them kick the Heat's butt. So I was anticipating it, but at least I got to enjoy some basketball while I was watching. Jaden, what about you? Where is this movie in terms of your hype level for 2022? And what did you think of the trailer?
Well, I guess like with everybody else, I was getting a little nervous with no trailer for a while there. But once that teaser came out, it really boosted my hype for it a lot. Actually, it was one of those things where you didn't know what to expect, and then it's all in your face, and it's like somehow jumped all the way to the top of your list, and that's exactly what happened to me. For the trailer, I absolutely loved it. Like, it was probably in like the last few trailers that we've gotten in the MCU, it's like one of my favorites, just because it was so fun. And Thor, and he's always got that comical side of him, and just Chris Hemsworth being who he is, it's like his whole personality just shines through this role. And I'm so hyped to see like his now mighty Thor, Jane Foster, seeing that chemistry between those two. And like, it's almost going to be like now who's really the strongest Avenger, because now she's like this super badass girl. Like, it's just crazy. His ex, and it's gonna be fun. I love it.
It's going to be so fun to see them. I think we're obviously going to see them get to go toe to toe a little bit, test their power, and then obviously team up to fight Gorr at some point as well. We also saw Valkyrie in there fighting Gorr, and we're going to get more. We're going to touch more on that later, but it's definitely interesting to see that this is going to be a Thor Odinson story, a Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor story. Valkyrie is going to play a huge part of it as well. And you see, Thor's not over Jane yet, but it almost when I'm going to bury the lead a little bit and go ahead in the rundown. When we get that scene of some blurred out Thor bum, which the MCU, every time we have one of these movies, they do their classic slowly take shirt off, flex the abs scene for a good 5 to 10 seconds. But if I'm not mistaken, this might be the first man bun we're getting in the MCU. And during that scene, Valkyrie and Jane are talking to each other. They say, should we help him? Nah, not yet. You want another grape? Because of course, nuts and grapes as Guardian candy. What do you think about the potential of Thor and Jane Thor and Thor, I guess, getting back together here? Or do you see a potential love triangle going on, Layla?
I mean, I'm gonna push for the love triangle. Seeing Valkyrie and Jane together in that trailer, I'm just like, I love women. Obviously, like, I liked Jane and Thor together, well, Thor and Thor together, but I'm just here for two, like, strong women together. I have to push for that. And honestly, just them like teasing Thor, like I'm so excited to see the banter between them. I feel like it's gonna be so fun. I'm really excited.
Yeah, whether or not there's going to be any type of romantic relationship between anyone in this movie, I just absolutely love the Valkyrie and Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor chemistry we're seeing so far. What about you, Jaden?
I guess from what I noticed, it seemed like one of those things where she's been doing, like, obviously from where we last saw her to where she is now, she's been busy. Obviously she's now in her own version of Thor with a broken Mjolnir. So she's been busy. So it's like when they first saw each other, she was like, "What's it been, 3 years?" And he was like, "Nope, it's actually been 8 years, 7 months." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, she's totally." she's
Does
totally
that tell you that maybe she blipped? Or sorry,
She
yeah, she
did.
blipped
She
and he
did.
did not.
You're right.
She
Okay.
did because in Endgame, in that scene where they're showing all the pictures of who was blipped, she's in that. She was definitely
Okay.
snapped.
Now that makes more sense. I was taking that as like she definitely doesn't care much anymore, unless it was just some kind of banter, which I'm sure it was. But yeah, no, that just seeing that, I know for a fact that Thor is not over Mighty Thor. It's so weird to say that, but yeah, it's gonna be. I think that they're gonna maybe rekindle a little bit. But I don't know. I think I would love to see some Valkyrie and Jane get together on that, and then see Peter and Thor. That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. That'd be a lot of fun. You mean, hey, Star Wars bisexual canon in comics, so you never know. But another thing, I'm happy you brought up Jane's Mjolnir with all those different pieces, because that part of the trailer where she splits them all out all over the place and then sucks them back together, that was so unbelievably cool. And so I can't wait to see how her fighting style differs from the Thor that we know, and like how the two of them can complement each other and how it looks when they're going toe to toe with each other. She obviously looks so incredibly cool. We get a better look at the Mighty Thor than we did in the first trailer. We also got a new look at Thor with his helmet on, face up, talking to the Mighty Thor, Jane there. Layla, what do you think of Thor's new look as a whole, and then also that full-on helmet he had going?
I mean, he looks good in anything. It's Chris Hemsworth. His arms, I just can't stop looking at his arms. Like, that is insane. I actually have it up right now, the helmet. I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool.
Kind of where I'm at it
he
is like,
can,
it looks sweet. It's kind of like a cool comic homage, but you just don't cover Chris Hemsworth's face for that much of a movie.
exactly. That's where I'm at.
And so I feel like we can't go much longer without talking about the highlight of the trailer, what a lot of us were waiting for, what a lot of people were hoping wouldn't happen because they wanted to save it for the movie. But we got it. We got our very first look at Christian Bale's Gorr. I think he looks absolutely amazing. They definitely seem to be toning down the CGI and bumping up the fact that you have Christian Bale for this role and loading him up with the makeup and trying to make him look as sinister as possible. What did you think of this introduction to Gorr the God Butcher, Jaden?
I am a big advocate on the use of practical stuff. Like, I give me all the makeup, all the practical stunts. Like, give me all of that, because not only does it make it feel more realistic, I think it just visually more appealing. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I think that he looked great. Definitely in the role. It almost, it does look pretty comic book accurate. As I, was looking at some pictures of him before. I know in the comics he looks a little more alien like, but again, the practical usage of makeup and stuff like that, I think it's much better that they did it this way. And I'm really excited to see Christian Bale kind of uh, atone to his acting abilities in this role, because I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he just looks absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to see him in this role. Layla, something I want to throw to you, because I don't think Jane's going to know what I'm talking about, but I know a lot of people in our Twitch chat will. When we first saw Gorr, he's pulling out a sword. So what we know from comics is that is the Necro sword. But you know what was surrounding him? A whole lot of black goop. There was a lot of black goop surrounding
Oh
Gorr
my
there.
god.
So shout out to our guy Aaron Perrine, who always points out black goop from Phase Zero anytime he sees it in the MCU. And when Gorr pulled out his Necrosword there was a lot of black goop. And so for those who don't know, the Necrosword has a lot of ties to Null, the king of the symbiotes in comics. And we also see, we don't know if their two swords will have any connection in the MCU, but we also do kind of see Dane Whitman, the Black Knight sword, the Ebony Blade, in the post credits of Eternals, with a little bit of goop slithering around on there. So what do you think about the newest addition to Aaron Perrine, our friend's black goop agenda, Layla?
I feel like black goop is carrying the MCU at the minute. Like, we have it at the end of No Way Home, kind of, I guess. And then all of this. It's just like, where are they gonna go with it? Like, it's just making me more intrigued and just more excited. And I'm just like, because if it's on all these different things, where's it gonna lead to? What is like the bigger picture gonna be? It's just so like intriguing and I love it.
It was very cool. I liked it a lot as well. And Jaden, you're a bit of a comic guy yourself. And what do you know of the Necro Sword, and how do you think maybe they could adapt it into the MCU? And I mean, this is a live trailer reaction. I know I'm throwing you on the spot, so if you don't got a theory here, that's a-okay. But what do you think maybe they could be doing with Gorr and his Necro Sword here?
Being that I am rather new to Gorr, and new to all these different artifacts and ancient swords and whatnot, I thought it looked really cool. I also agree. I thought it was really cool that they incorporated that black goop, because there is big things coming for that, clearly. But as for the usage of the Necro sword, I don't know. I mean, I for me, being that I'm not like, but I just want to see him totally hack some gods with it. Like, I know he's gonna go crazy over in Olympus. I know it. I feel it in my bones, and that would be crazy.
Yeah, they would be very cool. And it's definitely interesting. It's like Damon is saying in the chat right now, with Venom being a Spider-Man character and a Sony character, it's really tough for them to dive too deep into Null with it being the symbiote. So it's definitely curious what they may do there. But yeah, the Necro Sword looks cool. And I just appreciate, and I think it's really cool how the MCU is sort of building up just a group of powerful weapons that people wield. Like, we have Jane with Mjolnir, we have Thor with Stormbreaker, Dane's pulling up his Ebony Blade, we have Gorr with the Necro Sword, and I think it's really, really sweet. And one of the last parts about Gorr's appearance I wanted to touch on that I really like so much is he really is giving like big Slender Man vibes. Like, it's really pale, skinny, sinister, and then you contrast that with the better look we got of Zeus in this trailer, where Zeus is just big and boasting and talks very loud like this, whereas Gorr is a much quieter tone. And so I think it's really cool how he directly kind of contrasts what we get from Zeus in that trailer. And it's going to be very fun to see Gorr just absolutely take him out. It's interesting to see that Thor kind of looks like he's almost taken captive on Olympus, just like he was in by the Grand Master in
Sakaar.
Thor Ragnarok and Sakaar. Thank you, Layla. And so I'm almost curious, like, will that be the first time we see Gorr in the movie, and will it be after Thor is trapped? And Gorr will just rifle his way through there, and that's how Thor's freed? Or will Thor maybe be going to Olympus for help to be like, yo, look who we found here. I need some help stopping Gorr. And they kind of laugh him off like the 838 Illuminati may have not done. I keeping it very vague there, as I realize I was about to get into spoiler territory. I know we got our guy
Ooh,
Brandon in
yeah.
the comments, so the Illuminati's in the trailer. I didn't spoil anything, and I pumped it back right at the right time. So proud of myself there. So Jaden, how do you think this is going to go in terms of first look at Gorr, and how did Thor end up on Olympus?
I feel like I'm gonna go with the second route that you put up there, with him going to kind of notify everybody, hey, this guy's coming through. He's the real deal, and then they're gonna kind of laugh him off, because they kind of gave me that vibe. He seems like he's all about party. He's like, oh, I'm big, I'm bad, I don't have to worry about anything. And then Gorr is just gonna come in and completely just tell him what's up. And I feel like that's gonna be a lot of fun, because not only do we get to see, all these gods in the MCU, um, obviously they're getting destroyed, but to see them, use their powers and whatnot, and just to kind of see Thor almost fighting alongside them. Hopefully he's not naked when he does it, but that would be cool to see.
Or hopefully he is.
I was gonna say, why hopefully not?
Something I thought was really cool too, Layla, and I want to get your take on this, is kind of what I'm thinking of how Thor got there in Olympus. Is, I think it's like you said, Jaden, some sort of meeting of the gods. And if Valkyrie is the king of Asgard and Jane is now the mighty Thor, who knows, maybe like we talked about earlier, her queen, maybe Thor just wasn't allowed to be part of that meeting, and that's why he was getting stripped naked and made to fight, because maybe he's not the god of anything right now, and so therefore wasn't allowed to be taken at that level. What do you think about that, Layla?
I mean, that's like totally possible. He might, like, Jane and Valkyrie might just be like, we don't need no man to sit in on this meeting and tell us what to do. We have the power now. We can make these decisions. And like, I would be down for that. And then he just like dramatically breaks through the door and be like, listen. Like, I feel like that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know about that. Like, maybe him going for help, because it's kind of like Ragnarok vibes, where he goes to like, well, he doesn't go to Sakaar, but he's trying to warn them about Ragnarok. Like, but no one really believes him. It's kind of that vibe, I feel like.
Yeah, big time. I feel you there as well. And another interesting aspect of the trailer I noticed is we really got a lot of Peter Quill, Star-Lord, in the first one. This one, not so much. It obviously focused more on our main characters, but the brief Guardian shot we got, we saw Drax and Nebula firing some weapons, just like going to absolute war, it seemed like. What do you think their role, the Guardians as a whole, is going to be in this film, Jaden?
I think we're gonna see them kind of almost like his support system, and his motivation when he's getting in shape, and he's getting his mental back right. I think they're gonna be a big thing in the beginning, and then I think towards the end they're gonna kind of bring it back. They're gonna go do their own thing. Thor's gonna do his own thing. He's gonna have Korg with him. He's gonna get into some trouble, and then he's gonna see Jane, and then it's gonna kind of lead into all this stuff, and then the Guardians kind of bring it back towards the end, and they all just kind of fight whatever big bad's happening towards the end of that film. But I think they're gonna play a big role, mainly in getting him back to where he needs to be, in terms of his mentality and his physical shape. As we did, wait, was it their ship that he was like tugging on his back when he was like trying to?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be cool to see, because I feel like having Peter Quill be his like personal trainer, like let's go, come on, that would be funny.
I agree with you, and I agree with our chat too, just really thinking that they're going to be in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, probably quite heavily, but then not a lot more after that. What is curious to me, though, is just the fact that they're in some kind of battle in that trailer. Layla, do you have any theories as to like who they could be fighting and why?
I really don't know unless it's just like some cool opening sequence where they're fighting like a really irrelevant person who is literally just like in the first 5 minutes, just as like an opening, like the Guardians are here, they're with Thor, and then we go like into the film as just kind of like an opening shot.
Almost
Could be
Guardians of the
from that.
Galaxy 2 esque, where they're like setting up their movie, they fight the
Yeah,
big monster, and then we get into the plot.
exactly. I feel like it might be that, and then come back for like a bigger fight at the end for something. I feel like they're not going to be in like the big chunk of the movie. It's definitely going to be like a two-part thing.
That makes a lot of sense. And so I think that is getting pretty close to the end of trailer analysis. It was short and sweet. And I think it was our friend Jenna Anderson who tweeted out earlier today that what she's hoping for out of this trailer is a look at Gorr, a few other things, and nothing revealing from the plot. I want it to still be, I have no idea what's going on in this movie. And I think that this did that. It gave us some beautiful visuals. It gave us a look at Gorr. It gave us some Thor, Jane, Valkyrie chemistry, and not a lot else. We got a better look at Zeus, but we really don't know what the plot of this movie is other than Thor, Valkyrie, and the mighty Thor are some gods, and Gorr doesn't like gods. That's about all that we really know, though. And so, just kind of getting into speculation mode. I'm curious: are there any types of mythology the two of you are looking to see in this movie at all, and or mythology cameos or MCU cameos that you'd like to see weaved into this? Would you like to see some Moon Knight Khonshu action? I know you would, Layla. Or would you like to see an aspect of another type of ancient mythology gods come into play a little bit? Something that I think would be very, very cool would be if we get to see the MCU's Hercules. If they've managed to keep that under wraps and we don't know who it is and haven't seen them, I think that would be the coolest thing ever. And then something else I think we would be very cool as well that we got a brief teaser of in that still they released the other day was Bast. And I think it would be very cool if we got to see Bast, Panther God of Wakanda, would be so unbelievably cool as well. Are there any that the two of you are really hoping get weaved into this at all? Layla, what about you?
You know, I want my Moon Knight links, but I'm very, very scared for our hippo friend. If that happens, I can't. Nothing can happen to Paul. Is it Taweret? I can't.
Taweret.
Nothing can happen to her. She's too precious for this. We've only had her for like 3 episodes, and then yeah, I'm just excited to see like because the god thing of Moon Knight. I feel like they barely scratched the surface of like the possibilities of like what they could do, like linking to it, especially Egyptian mythology, but even like more like digging more into the fall stuff. Like I'm just open to anything, really, anything.
I'm distracted by like I have the Twitch and the comments going up on our
Thank you.
on the side here, and holy, this graphic of Gorr that Ruben just fired up there, like I haven't really been engaging in the dialogue on Twitter yet, but I hope I don't see too much. Oh, Gorr looks terrible, because wow, does he look amazing and
It's
terrifying.
creepy.
Absolutely terrifying. And there's some cool things we're seeing in the comments as well. Damon and Emma really want to see more Greek gods. Give us some Poseidon, give us some Ares, maybe some Aphrodite. What about you, Jaden? Is there anybody, any specific Greek gods or any type of mythology outside of Greek that you're hoping to see in this movie?
So I was like heavily into all like the Percy Jackson books when I was younger. And like it was all I would read besides like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I would love to see, like you said, more of the Greek gods. Definitely Poseidon. I feel like that would be such a cool thing to bring into the MCU. I definitely want to see some Hercules because again, Henry Cavill, let's go, come on. But also I think kind of backtracking a little bit to what like the opening scene for this movie could be. I don't know, who it could be or what it could be, but I think opening this movie with like Gorr fighting a god or like a couple of gods, you know what I mean? Like just like kind of starting off with that right off the bat to set the tone would be such a cool way to get this kind of rolling. And then we get into Thor and how he, you know, is getting through his stuff, and then eventually coming face to face with Gorr and being like, oh well, he's here and I have to defeat him now. So that would be cool. But yeah, definitely more Greek gods.
Yeah, I think that would be something that would be very cool. And it'll be interesting to see if they weave things with Eternals or Moon Knight and stuff like that from the other from outside the MCU that could potentially make sense to enter this. And yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. What's up, Layla?
I just remembered I saw a TikTok earlier. It's probably very much reaching, but at the end of Eternals we see Eros, and I believe he's the god of love. And the title is Thor Love and Thunder, and Thor is the god of thunder.
Is he referred to as the god of love at all?
That's
I'm
what
gonna
the
have to look
TikTok
into some of
said.
these theories. I feel like there's
Let me get it
actually
up.
I feel like there's been like Harry Styles in Love and Thunder type like fan theories for a long time
I
too.
know.
So I feel like that could be interesting that he shows up. And I don't think it's impossible by any means. But Jaden, what was more anticipated for you? And I want the answers from the chat as well. What's more anticipated? Was it to see Gorr in this trailer, or is it to see the uncensored Thor's butt in the movie?
Well, I think it was definitely more anticipated to see Gorr, but I am absolutely not complaining that we got some Thor cheeks, because that's gonna break the internet. I'm sure it already has at this
It
point.
already has.
Valkyrie, the king of Asgard, Thor, the king of Asgard. We know Captain America has America's ass. Thor is pumping into Olympus, showing he's got Olympus's ass. And maybe that's when we're going to see Henry Cavill as Hercules come in and try and say, hey, no, it's not for me. Layla, did you get that TikTok up?
I think it got deleted because I sent it to my friend and now it's gone.
That's okay. That's okay. To all of our people joining us on Twitch today, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get the emotes, hit that follow button, share it with your friends so we can have more wonderful people in this community chatting with us. I love our awesome chat and the way they always keep things rolling and interact. If you're watching this on YouTube later, make sure you hit that like button. You can find it as well anywhere you get your podcasts. Agents of Fandom are on all the socials. At Agents Fandom on Twitter, Agents of Fandom anywhere else. We've been doing some awesome giveaways. I'm sending them out tomorrow. I was planning on the weekend, but it is a holiday here in Canada, so they're going out tomorrow. And Jaden and Layla, thank you so much for joining me today. If you aren't fully aware of Jaden and Layla, what they've been doing for the Agents of Fandom lately, they've both just absolutely been crushing our TikTok. We went from like 700 followers on TikTok a couple days ago to well over 1,000 now, and they're just both absolutely crushing it. So thank you so much for joining us today. Jaden, where can the people find you?
Well, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Jaden CM Duran, Jaden Cameraman Duran. That is my name. That's always been my name. But definitely check out the TikTok, the Agents of Fandom TikTok, because we got some pretty cool things going on up there. I try to post constantly every day, at least 3 times a day. But yeah, go ahead and check that out. And yeah, be sure to follow us.
For sure. And we can't stay here much longer because we have the wise and correct Jim Viscardi in the chat telling Layla it's time to get to bed. And he's absolutely right, because it's what, 3:30 a.m., 2:30 a.m. there, Layla?
It's 3:30 and I'm running on not a lot of sleep and I've been awake for like nearly 24 hours.
She's shutting down.
So that's fun.
Well, yeah. We can't appreciate enough you for joining us today. I appreciate it. I know the Twitch chat appreciates it. Before we get out of here, where can the people find you on socials?
I'm just basically Falcons Nut on everything. TikTok. I'm mainly active on Twitter. If you just tweet at me, I'll probably be there. But yeah, I'll be anywhere.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at TJ_Zwarich5, ZWARYCH, same as everywhere else. That will do it for today's emergency Thor Love and Thunder trailer reaction bonus episode of the Agents of Fandom. We will be back in a couple days on Thursday morning. We will have Lee Swift, aka River from Netflix's The Circle, hopping on the podcast to talk some Marvel with us. And then, of course, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi airing Friday, Stranger Things airing Friday, Top Gun coming this week. We got a ton of content coming to agentsofandom.com and the socials. So stay peeled to all of that. That'll do it for today's episode. Peace.